recording just stopped. Okay. Southwest Patrol isn't answering. That's the one that was so corrupt that they just deprived me of doing reports. They just won't even take them for child abuse, saying that they couldn't help. There's nothing that they can do. I have to have a child present to report child abuse. You can't report child abuse without having a child. People just see. I just do not understand. Maybe because I just don't understand. I've helped a lot of people, how a multitude of people can sit, watch. I just can't fathom before COVID. Churches can't comment on the chaos. At least validate my experience. Wow, girl, I cannot believe they won't. Nowhere will do it. They just sit, normalize, watch. I just have never seen anything like this before COVID. I keep repetitively trying to say a multitude of people did not care about anything at all that my family has experienced, that are supposed to be loving and compassionate for a living, still didn't. Domestic, all of them deprived me of services. All of them. I said that I've never seen, they would not validate the experience. All they would do is cover for it. Have you ever heard at the locations of anyone getting arrested and assaulted for attending a domestic violence support group? They all ignored it. Then they didn't have rights with me. I cannot report any of the government's crimes. I can't get services before COVID. At least now they'll allow me to shop at grocery stores and order food. All purchases were denied in the past. They would scheme at 7-Eleven, grocery stores, a multitude of locations to deprive me of services, and they did it all day in a row. And I have a whole YouTube channel, and they're still committing these crimes that I have never heard of before in my life. And the multitude of people won't even be honest to validate they have not ever heard of it either before COVID. So let's try another one. We are at 2 police departments that won't even talk. This is police headquarters. They are committing so many crimes they don't answer the phone, period. Or they just scheme and hang up. They're the ones guarding 70-something reports that they won't investigate. They're supposed to be referring it over. If I'm telling them I'm targeted, they're supposed to be referring me over to an enforcement agency, like a FBI agent or another government agency for law enforcement. But they cover for it and remove me by force for reporting being targeted in crimes from the police department. Internal Affairs did. So Internal Affairs removed me for reporting criminal activity from the multiple different police departments. They won't answer. This is just years sitting in it, year after year. I miss my daughter. I have no access to her, period, because of the government's crimes. Even for the legal supervised visits, they will not adhere to that, period, for malice. I can't talk to her. I have to just sit and marinate in the environment, and my daughter's not in a healthy environment. They have her be a conspirator and all this chaos and cover for it. That's emotionally abusive. We were close. Then, not to mention that she had physical abuse in the past that the government's covering up for just so I don't have access to her. I just have to sit and marinate every day. Calling police headquarters again. This is an FBI scammer line because they're supposed to regulate the police.
Scottish for Children, can I help you?
I'm sorry, what did I call?
Scottish for Children, Scottish Hospital.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have the wrong number.
The Dallas
I dialed 214 instead of 972.
If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. Para español, oprima el 7. If you know your party's extension, you may dial 9 at any time. If you're calling to report a possible internet crime, please visit www.ice. Can I please have the spelling of your first and last name?
Yes, this is a complaint line.
You reached the National Threat Operations Center.
Oh, I'm trying to do a complaint, and I don't know why I would be deprived of that right to do a complaint.
Okay.
Can anyone do a complaint,
what?
or do you tamper with evidence and prevent them from doing a complaint? Can anyone do a complaint? Right?
Ma'am, please respond to my question. A complaint.
Ma'am, I just trying to make sure I got the right department. This is very odd at the beginning of this call.
You reached the FBI.
Okay, so I'm trying to do a complaint. I'm trying to make sure I have the right department. I don't know why
name?
you would deprive me of that. First, I want to make sure I have the right department, which would make common sense.
Okay, you reached the National Threat Operations Center. We intake information.
Okay, so I'm trying to get to the complaint line to do a complaint.
A complaint against who?
The FBI agency for depriving me of law enforcement.
Okay,
For a
so
threat to national security.
You would provide me the information, and I would get it documented in our system for you.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. So doing a complaint, you would provide, I would do the complaint to you, and then you would get it documented in the system, and then they still deprive me of law enforcement, or what happens when a person makes a complaint of a threat to national security?
I document all the information you have, and it goes into our system, and then if anyone had any questions for you or needed to reach out, they would reach out to you.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. Okay, I just want to make sure I have clarity. So you would make a complaint of a threat to national security. And if they deem your complaint as pertinent information or something that they consider that they care about, they'll call you back. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not part of the investigative team. So
I'm just trying to get clarity on if the FBI denies law enforcement.
So, ma'am, would you like to?
I just want to know. I don't understand why you would deprive me of clarity. If I would just want, I think that
I've already explained.
I just want clarity. I don't know why you would deprive me of that and try to cover for my experience, ma'am. So I just want to make sure that the FBI.
I'm going to have to end the call.
Oh, are you covering for the crimes, ma'am? And I don't know you. Can I speak with someone that don't want to cover for crimes? Is there anyone there that doesn't cover for crimes and let me report, do a complaint and tips without trying to cover for it? Can I do a complaint or a tip without someone? I just want to escalate this because you're covering for crimes, ma'am, and that's a criminal offense. Tamper with evidence is a felony, especially at the FBI. So I want to escalate it to someone that won't try to take control of the call and tamper with evidence.
I'll document it for you. If you don't respond to my questions, I will have to end the call.
I want to talk to someone else that's not tampering with evidence, ma'am. I want to escalate above you because you're committing a crime. Tamper with evidence is a felony. Trying to take control of the call to cover for crimes is a criminal offense, and you're the FBI, you claim.
Would you like to provide me the information?
You're tampering with evidence. I would like to escalate to speak with someone over you that's not tampering with evidence.
I thank you for calling. I'm going to end the call. I hope you have a good day.
My second call. But this has been going on years. So I'm just obtaining evidence. So you can see what I've experienced years. But it's been worse when I wasn't recording.
First and last name, please.
Is this a complaint line?
This is the National Threat Operations Center.
Oh, because I tried to do a complaint. I hit to do a complaint.
I can certainly document your information.
Okay. This is the complaint line?
Well, like I said, this is the National Threat Operations Center, so we intake and document tips and threats of national security.
Okay, I have a question.
I can certainly document.
I have a question.
Document your information.
I have a question.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, so if there's a threat to national security, do you guys investigate that, or do you deprive citizens of law enforcement that was reporting threats of national security?
Well, like I said, this is the National Threat Operations Center, so we intake and document information. I mean, so I can't, confirm or deny.
I think that was just a yes or no question. If someone is reporting a threat to national security, do you think that the FBI would deem that as uninvestigatable, reporting a threat to national security or significant bodily harm? Would the FBI cover for that and deprive someone of law enforcement for years?
Can you explain by depriving of law enforcement?
So if someone is reporting a threat to national security, does an operator or an investigator call back to see what the threat would be?
If it's a potential that you might get a call back from an agent, I mean, it's
A
a potential.
potential?
I mean, I
If
can't say
someone
that
is
you
reporting
will,
a threat to national security, the government doesn't deem that as investigatable? They cover for it and deny law
I never
enforcement?
said that.
Okay, so if someone is reporting a threat to national security, do they get a call back?
It's not a guarantee, but
Why would,
there's a
okay,
chance
it's not
you
a
will get a call
guarantee.
back.
If someone is reporting a threat to national
Right.
security, they won't investigate it and call that person back to see what's going on for
Well,
years?
Just because you place the tip in does not mean that you're going to get a call back. But I mean, if they need
Okay,
additional
so I'm trying to
information or
figure
anything
out
like
why
that,
would anyone not investigate a threat to national security? Why
I
would the
never said that
FBI
there
not
was going to
investigate
be
that?
not an investigation.
I'm sorry?
I never said that there was not going to be an investigation, but it has to be passed on, and then that's determined, by agent.
Okay, so you pass on the complaint. So if someone is reporting a threat to national security and FBI operators deprive them of that right and say don't call back to cover for the crimes, wouldn't that be criminal?
So what exactly are you reporting?
I just told you a threat to national security and the FBI operators
Right.
cover for it and
But what is
deprive
the
me of
threat to
reporting the
national
criminal
security?
offense, which is a threat to national security.
Okay, and so what is the threat to national security?
Okay, the threat to national security is for a multitude of government officials to enforce child abuse and deprive someone of their constitutional rights and enlist multiple parties to conspire, including cell phone providers, to cover up for their criminal activity in a conspiracy. So that
Can you explain a little
individual,
bit, please?
I'm sorry,
Can you
including the
explain a little bit,
FBI?
please?
Yes. So for years, I have been deprived of my right to services down to ordering food and different things. Before the services got sabotaged, now I have a little bit more rights where I can order food. But my rights were violated to the degree to where I barely could even order food and eat out. Okay, they would scheme multiple different times a day.
So
I
you're
have
unable
multiple
to make calls?
proper calls and order food to an extreme. I didn't have civil rights. There was a conspiracy to violate my civil rights before COVID. I was being deprived of services everywhere I went, and the schemes from the government. I thought that
so
was
how do you know that the
dangerous
schemes from the
because
government,
if they
please?
can
Can you please
deprive me of
explain
my
that?
right to even order food and
Can you
have
explain exactly how it's, ma'am, can you explain exactly how it's some kind of a government cover up, like you said?
okay, because I have multiple false arrests that I was deprived of my right to go to court. I've never heard of that. The government hacks my phone to cover for their crimes to deprive me of getting any help or any advocacy or any love and support, even through churches. I cannot get a advocate for domestic violence. I can't get an attorney because I'm blacklisted. The government deprives me of legal representation by contacting locations and telling them to violate my civil rights and not represent me. So I'm blacklisted from services and law enforcement. I think that if the corrupt government officials can hack someone's phone and force them to speak to scammers, as my son got
Can
hit
you
with a
provide your
car.
first and last name?
You want my first and last name?
Yes, please.
Yeah, here's the problem that they're so corrupt. When I call in, you guys deprive me of reports and investigation. So if I give you my name, they have listed in the system to not talk to me and say don't call back to report crimes, which I think is a threat to national security. So if I give you my name, what they always do is they say don't call back. They don't want me reporting the government's crimes at the FBI call center or whatever this is, national threat operations. So if I give you my name, they have documented in the system don't talk to me like in person. So what am I supposed to do if now I'm deprived of law enforcement?
If contact you, they certainly need someone to contact you back.
They haven't for years. And they have one. If I give you my information, when I give you my information, they're so corrupt, you would have documented in the system, don't even talk to me, to tell me not to call back to report crimes.
So do you not want to provide your name?
I mean, I'm telling you what you have in the system. I don't know how we're going to combat if there's even corruption at the FBI. If you have documented in your system that you have to cover for crimes upon my call, how will we move forward? How would you possibly do your job properly?
So do you want to provide your name or not?
I'm just trying to see how we can combat it. Do you cover for crimes or do you enforce the law? I need to let you know
Obviously,
before I
that's what
give you
you're
my
asking.
information that they have documented in the system that you're supposed
Okay,
to
so I
cover for the
document your
crimes.
information, okay? That's what I do. So if you're gonna provide your information, you
But
should
you
you
need
don't
to
want
know
you don't
before
have
I
to.
give you my information that they have documented in the
Okay, and so
system.
what exactly is a federal violation? Can you explain exactly what the federal violation is?
Depriving a citizen of law enforcement, interference with child
Okay,
custody
and why
crimes.
is that? Why do you believe that that's going on?
Well, if you have documented in the system when I give you my information to cover for crimes and not even take reports from me, that's clear cut and deny me law enforcement. You let me give you my
Well,
name so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Thank you for calling the FBI. You have a good day.
Well, I'm sorry. Hello. He hung up. I've been documenting this years. I'm so tired, and I just can't believe this. Everywhere I go, including church, they cover for it. I don't understand why no one is afraid. Why am I the only one afraid? I just don't get it. How can you just sit for years and just look and do nothing? You see, I have no rights. My family has no value and rights to the government, and we just sit, watch, and just a multitude of people just sit, look, and do nothing. How can I beg for my life in a manner that I haven't already done, to the degree of getting drugged out of churches and thrown out on concrete in front of the congregation? So, I mean, what quality of life is this for me? I try to be positive and try to just think of ways to just live my life to the best capability that I can, and I just don't know how to handle this. I try to get therapy. They deprive me of therapy out of criminal activity because they want me to sit and marinate in the abuse. So that's deprived therapy too. I can't reach out to churches because they're depriving me of services, love, and support. They cover for it, ignore it. And yesterday at church, a man was blocking the path at church. He claimed that he was a church member with a badge on. And I told him about the experience, and I asked him, I said, I don't know why I would be deprived of all the services here, all of them. I set up, they said the only thing they can offer me is groups to cover up for all the criminal activity. I mean, there's counseling, different things that they offer. They're depriving me of all of it. So I said, okay, well then, he said, what did he say? Oh, I let him know that the groups weren't calling me back. For the small groups, that's the only thing that they're willing to offer is the small groups. They're not calling me back for any of the groups. Then a lady said that they offer the counseling and she wouldn't call me back, because they were trying to refer me to other locations with the counseling. This is at church. So I said, well, can I have the services here? And they said the only thing that we can provide here is the small groups. That's the only thing that we can provide here. I said, okay. Because I don't have rights like normal people, So I said, okay. And they won't do that either. So then he starts to pray for me. And he's like, well, I hope you get the emotional support in his prayer, knowing my life is in jeopardy, that you need the mental help and the emotional support. I said, you need to pray for the government's emotional support and help, mental clarity. Because they're the ones committing these crimes, and them having the power and abusing it. That is a threat to your life as well as mine. So while you're praying for my mental capacity, you need to be praying for the government's mental capacity and their mental health. Because what I'm seeing is not even rational, and it's definitely not legal. So I appreciate you praying for me. I did tell you my life is in jeopardy, and perhaps yours too. So what I think we really need to concentrate on is the government's mental health. But anyway, I've tried.